Hey everybody, Tim checking in here at Rat Daddy Studios, and the weekend is over. Didn't get to Model Cars and Coffee this morning. I was actually over visiting my good buddy Day Choi and doing Model Cars and Coffee with him. Hanging out anyway. I took a couple of things over to show him, but he's been working on his garden for him and his wife, so it's that time of year and getting a lot of stuff done outside, or I'm not able to do too much. My poor daughter came over and mowed my yard today. I felt terrible for her doing that, but she got through it okay, and we had a lot of rain in the last few weeks, so finally. So it was pretty high. So my dog is part dachshund, so she'd be out there looking for a place to go to the bathroom, and you couldn't even see her legs. You could only see like the top of her back and her tail. That's how bad it was in a couple spots out in the back of the property back there. So anyway, so I've gotten a few things done, working on a few other things, and so let's kind of get to it here. Let me swing in here and see what we got to show you today. So, all right, so pretty much finished up both of these Deals Wheels restoration projects. I'm really happy with these, especially the Mustang. I love this thing, and it's just they're such a rarity now. They're so hard to find. There's a Super Spurt, which is the Malibu, the Chevy. There's one on eBay right now, unbuilt, nice box, $350. Like, jeez, man. I mean, so both of mine were glue bombs that Chuck Darnell had passed on to me. So very happy to get them, but got my Deals Wheels decals in there. You can see, always love those. Good Boot, Champagne SPT. So I got those in there. Tail lights done. That was pretty much one of the last things, and I wanted some orange wheelie wheels to match the body paint. I could not get the lid off my bottle of Tamiya orange paint to save my life. I mean, I just couldn't get it off, and had to end up taking it out to the garage and putting the bottle in the vise and using a pair of channel locks to get the lid off. Some paint had dried on there, and I just couldn't, even with my, I've got the bottle opener thing here, I could not get it off. But anyway, so just over those wheelie wheels, but I wanted them to match. So, but overall, I think it came out pretty nice, and I was really glad. These decals are actually decals that I copied and printed on white decal paper off an original set of decals. So they worked good, and so yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the paint. So yeah, so that's another restoration done, and the easier one of those restorations, which has still got a little bit left to go, but the swine hunt tank, also extremely hard to find now, but got it back together. Just did a little touch up in there that it needed, and I pretty much left the chrome untouched. I mean, it's a tank, you know, and his helmet's a little, the chrome's not great, but you know what, it's a tank, so it's okay. The only thing I'm missing is the stinger's missing, the little pipe coming up with the stinger tip on it. So I'll keep my eye out for one of those, or I'll just probably end up manufacturing something. But overall, it's pretty much complete, and happy to get one of those back in my collection. And once again, thank you, Chuck Darnell, my old friend who has looked out for these models for me for years. So I wouldn't have a lot of the things, the rare things that are in my collection, without his help. So pretty much finished up this little dude today. Got him. This is, I think, supposed to be like a black leather piece around the helmet, but I like it all chrome, so I am leaving him all chrome. Got his eyes painted. Got some bloodshot in there. I just did a wash of light red, and then did the veins, and then glossed them up. So he's a pretty cool little piece. So he's done, ready for the shelf. And the big thing I'm working on is the big boy from Jimmy Flintstone, and I've made good progress on him this week. Man, is he getting heavy too. But he's of course, I did him kind of a Franken big boy, so got some metal neck bolts in there. I had a bunch of these metal pieces, but the paint took a while. I had masked all this off and airbrushed all the checkerboard pattern, and of course it all came out pretty good, but you know, you always have to end up going back and touching up. So a couple hours work just in doing the paint on his body. I did all the green stuff first. I did his arm, this arm's a separate piece, and of course the head's a separate piece. So I airbrushed all that up first, and then I taped the arm off and taped this off, and then shot all the black over a white base coat. So that all came through, but came out good. Did the red on his tennis shoes and his suspenders, and just did a little light brushwork here. Hand painted his eyes and his eyebrows and his mouth, and then on his hair, I used a white Tamiya pastel, and went in there and I did the highlights in his hair. Just did a little streaking in there, just so it wasn't solid black. This whole thing has been sprayed down with Tamiya matte clear, all of him. I hand brushed the eyes in Tamiya gloss clear to weten them back up, and this was just Tamiya silver leaf here. I made the display base. I cut that out of some plexi that I had, the fluorescence. So should fluoresce pretty good under black light, between the white and the green and that fluorescent base. And then of course I'm still working on, the part I'm working on is his hamburger, but this is not going to be any hamburger. This is going to be a custom hamburger. So I'm not going to spill the beans completely on that yet, so you're going to have to wait and see what happens with the custom burger. But it's almost the size of a regular McDonald's hamburger. So anyway, I'll be mixing up some paint for this week. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, I can finally spill the beans. Scott Calmer, longtime friend of mine from the old Show Rod Rally, who has now got, I'm gonna screw this up, so I gotta make sure that I get the right one, because there's a couple of modeling magazines out there. So I believe he's Auto Modeler magazine. My mind isn't great, so but it's the newer of those magazines. And really, this is probably the biggest, most exciting thing to me, and probably to a lot of modelers, since the uncertainty was found, of course, last year or year before. But that some of you guys may be familiar with Richard Carroll. Richard Carroll was a super famous model builder from 60s and 70s. Won everything. His models were so far ahead of the competition, so far ahead of their time. I think I read one time where they had to create a class to put them in, because they didn't know what to do with them. They were so outlandish, so unbelievable. And I located Richard. He was still living up north. I believe it was in Maine, about 20 years ago. And of course, this was early days of the internet, and I'd done a search and had found a model company. It was an architectural modeling company up there, and it was called Carroll Enterprises, right? So I just thought, what the hell, I'll just call the phone number and see if it's him. And it was super nice, off the wall kind of at that time. He was bouncing, and just all those creative juices were still flowing. I mean, he was just really wound up, and I talked to him on the phone, and all these ideas just still coming out. So, I mean, this guy is he's a hell of a machinist. I mean, as a kid, he was machining all these metal parts for the chassis. That was what he was really known for, his full working suspensions, all made out of metal, springs and steering components. He fabricated everything on his models. And this was in the early days before candy paint. I heard one time, and he might have told me, that he got into a paint company somewhere, and he was actually going in where they had these tanks of paint and skimming the top surface to get the transparent toner out of the paint. That's what he used to make candy paints with back in the days when we didn't even have that stuff. So anyway, so I contacted them and I kept in touch with him off and on for a while. And I was trying to, at the time, Eldon Titus was still alive. And we had talked with Daryl Starbird about trying to get Richard's models in the Starbird Museum, and Daryl had agreed to put a whole cabinet in there featuring his models, and actually put him in the Hall of Fame in the Starbird Museum. And so we had everything kind of set up. And then he just he just like, well, you know, I remember at one point he said, well, can you fly up here and get up in my attic and get all my stuff down? And I'm like, no. So, you know, it was just kind of weird. So, you know, it was kind of hit and miss. And then he just really wasn't interested. He said, I'm really into working on one-to-one cars now. I don't care that much about the models and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, I didn't know what condition his models were in. I didn't know if he even had them anymore or what he had. But anyway, so fast forward about 5 years past that, and I got a phone call one day, and it was Richard. And he said, listen, I'm thinking of moving down to Florida. What do you know about Naples, Florida? And I said, well, that's all the way on the West Coast, not near me. I'm on the East Coast near Daytona. And he goes, well, I'm thinking of moving to Naples, and didn't know if you could hook me up with somebody over there looking at buying a house, which I couldn't. I have a friend that lives there, but you know, I didn't know what to do. And he said, well, I'll see what I can find out. And that was pretty much the last I heard from him. It's been about 15 years ago. So I know everybody would really, especially now, seeking out a lot of these older modelers who are trying to dig up that history of our hobby, which that's a big part of it for me, is our archives and our history. Of course, the National Model Car Museum, as a lot of you probably know by now, they're moving that, I think it's to Nebraska, to the Speedway Motors has a museum there. I think it's like the Museum of Speed, but it's Speedy Bill from Speedway Motors. So I think him and his wife both have passed away. But beautiful facility. Jimmy Flintstone was just telling me they have enough funds to keep that museum going for like 100 years. The family is running it, so I think that's awesome. So anyway, that would obviously be a great place for Richard's models to end up. And I actually just talked with Denny Johnson in the last few days, and his original Zinger models are going to that museum, which I think is just awesome, well deserved. And Denny's great guy, and hasn't always gotten the credit he deserved, not just from MPC, but Chuck Miller stole a lot of the credit on the creation of the Zingers from Denny. He's been doing that, and there goes Lucy barking. That's been going on for a while, and I think they're going to put some of the real original Zingers in that museum as well. And but Denny's not always got all of the credit he deserves for that, and he invented those as a young man. And that's been his legacy. So now it's going to carry on. But anyway, so Scott Colmer had gotten a hold of me several months ago and asked me if I still had Richard Carroll's phone number, which I didn't. And I did a little research trying to find him. And I said, yeah, I'm going to have to kind of roll that over to you, Scott, because I just really don't know where. I said, I know he was going to go to Naples. I said, I know he likes real hot rods. So maybe contact somebody in a car club over there. Maybe somebody knows who he is if he's still fooling with real cars. And so I'm not sure exactly how Scott found him, and that'll probably come out. But Scott did locate Richard Carroll. He called me about a month and a half ago. He was getting ready to fly back home. He had spent, I think, 4 days with Richard and his family. They pretty much opened their house up to these guys for the interview. Richard has all of his models. I think Scott told me like 2 washing machine boxes packed with this stuff. Took him the whole 4 days to go through all this stuff. They pulled everything out. Of course, some of it in disrepair. You gotta remember, some of this stuff is pushing 60 years old now, because he was winning those contests, I think, late 60s, early 70s, pretty much. I know that, and Denny was competing against him. Ira Dom, all these great names from our hobby. A few other of those guys who have since passed away. But yeah, so they pulled a lot of stuff out, and they managed to kind of, I think, repair enough stuff. The whole collection's going to need gone through and repair work done at some point. I think they're going to go back there this summer sometime and do some more interview stuff with Richard. But yeah, it's just great. So this upcoming issue that's getting ready to come out is going to be featuring a lot of Richard's models in there, which I can't wait to see them, especially in color. There's so many of those that we never saw in color. They were in Model Car Science and some of those older magazines back then, but remember, everything was, unless there were cover shots, which he did have a few covers, everything was in black and white. And Scott told me the colors are phenomenal. So you're going to get to see that. And then there's a video coming out, I think in June, you're going to be seeing a YouTube video. And I can't wait to see this stuff. And I did get invited to go over as part of this next interview process or whatever it is. I think they're going to do like a panel interview with Richard. And I did get invited over there. So hopefully, I think that might be in August or something. I'm hoping that I'm back on my feet completely by then, and talk to my wife about it. And I think I'm just going to fly over there and get a rental car and stay a couple days maybe. And I'd really like to meet Richard, and can't wait. I've seen some pictures. I had to kind of keep that to myself from you guys. I've had those pictures about a month and a half, and a picture of Richard himself. So I couldn't share that because it was all kind of on the QT until the magazine stuff got prepared. But it's going to be a great magazine, so you guys really, one, you're going to want to pick up. I just saw advertised, there's an ad out from Iceman Collections. He's going to have the magazine. So, and I'm sure they'll be on the newsstands or other hobby shops, places that they carry the mags in. So look for that. And so that's really exciting. That's exciting news that I've got to pass on to you. Other than that, I think that's about it. I haven't changed up anything. I did pick up a little a vehicle, a die cast. This is an M2, and it's a little Maui and Sons van. It's kind of cool. You see that white with the hot paint graphics. It's got red lines on it. Kragers. It's like, hey man, what's not to like? It says follow the sun on the front of it. Maui and Sons. So that's a cool little piece. So I grabbed that. Pretty much the only thing I grabbed this weekend. So, but whatever, $7, $8. I like it. I like those vans. I like the colors. I like anything associated with surfing, so I grabbed that. What else? Oh, still don't have my models from Canada. I gotten a delivery notice. They were supposed to be here last Wednesday, and I didn't make it. And didn't make it Thursday, and then I got a notice that they would be here Friday, and that ship has sailed. Still didn't get them. So the latest delivery notice I got, it says delivery delayed, updates forthcoming, and that's from the Canada Post Master. So the last place here in the US, they were in Chicago. It says in transit. It's showing that they're like 75% here with the little truck. I have no idea where they're at. And it actually says on it at this point, they could have gotten handed off to from the post office to another courier service or carrier. It says carrier unknown underneath of it on the postal site. So I hope I get them. I mean, I really have been chomping at the bit to get my hands on those kits, because those are the next things that I want to do, and it figures. But this, usually when I have gotten stuff from Frankie's Hobbies up there, it's taken about 2 weeks. So she shipped the stuff on the 10th, so we're not there yet. So I'm sure they will arrive, but I'm anxious. I'm always like that. Anytime I order anything, I'm always anxious to get it. You guys, I know you guys are the same way. We all love getting a box in the mail, especially if it's got models in it. So, but I'll keep you posted on that one and let you know when I get it. So, yeah, so that's it for now. And I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Back to work tomorrow. I'm still working short hours this week. I'm working 9 to 3. Which has been good because I'm pretty much out of steam by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My energy is pretty much gone. That's the biggest thing I'm still dealing with right now. Some other minor inconveniences, but I won't go into the detail on that. But mostly fatigue, and I'm still sore. From the waist down, everything just kind of aches and is sore. So I'm still trying to keep my feet up, but overall, every day I'm feeling better. I'm more and more energy, and not a lot of pain. I just get some random pain, shooting pains here and there, but and I'm itchy. From the scars are still healing, or where the staples were. That's still healing up, but not really in a lot of pain, so I'm doing okay. But again, thank you for all the emails and messages, and from Facebook and on my phone and everything else. I appreciate it, you guys. And it's hard to believe it's already been over 3 weeks since it was done, but I'm getting there. So I think in another month or so, I'm hoping I'll be getting closer to, maybe 100%. So right now, I'd say I'm 65% back to normal. So, and we'll just see how it goes. But anyway, thanks for coming by, and I will see you sometime again this week. Probably get Big Boy finished up this week. At least get his hamburger in the process. So I'll probably do some paint work on that in the next few days. So he hadn't got much longer. He's really coming together nice. I'm very pleased with how that's coming out so far. And many thanks to Jimmy Flintstone for gifting me that piece. It was really, really nice. And it's just a cool piece. I really like it, and I'm looking forward to getting in one of the cabinets there. So, okay. All right. See you guys again soon. Have a good one. Have a good upcoming week, and we'll see you. Bye.